Hello everybody and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo, where we're continuing off from where we left off. That sounded weird. Well, let's get started. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan for something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of books I finished reading. Walking aside, I see that there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday. All the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. Enveloping the room. As I drop the books I borrowed into the return slot on the counter, Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging that they made as they hit the trolley next to her. Sorry, Yuko. Didn't mean to startle you. No, that's fine. It happens. A lot. I'm used to it by now. Can I help you? It's okay. I think I know my way. What? I know where everything is. Thanks anyway. I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay in the hospital, it's become a hard habit to break. I wandered down the fiction section towards the back of the library, scanning the bookshelves for anything that catches my eye. As I do, I look over to the corner where Hanako has been the last time I was here, not really expecting anything to come of it. Well, surprisingly though, she's there, absorbed completely in a fairly thick book. I decide against intruding on her like last time, and get back finding reading material. After an indiscriminable amount of time spent pushing the aisles, I finally decide on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With a minimum of fuss, I quickly walk over to the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority have left, presumably to their homes and dorms. Feeling utterly drained, I head to my room to read the books I borrowed. There's been enough action and excitement for one day already. The first is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I know the story, of course, but I've never actually read the original book. It's just as trippy as I remember as the story to be, with the wacky characters and nonsense plot. I start thinking to myself as some kind of Alice too, haplessly tumbling down the rabbit hole into the creepy wonderland, or cripple wonderland. Okay, that's a rather strong expression. Still, the isolated location and the overt way of school accommodates to absolutely everything is unsettling. It is like another world. I wonder why I can't shake the feeling of being an outsider like Alice, despite most everybody being so hospitable and friendly with me. Turning another page, my mind starts drifting further away from the book. It's quiet. I can't hear my heartbeat thumping against the fabric of my shirt. For some reason, it makes me feel really bad, like has since that last time in the forest with Iwanako. Like I was locked in a cage with something nasty and scary. Oh, nighttime. I put the books down for a while and stare at the ceiling, taking my time to shake off the feeling. That rhymed. 200 pages later, I fall asleep. We're already at the... I don't know. As I wake up in classroom... Oh, never mind. The students roll into the class for the Saturday morning session. Each and every one of them sporting the tired eye of people that work through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose that's not surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until lunch break, and then our time is ours. Utao lurches into the class in a tired stagger. I suppose students are the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some pages and questions on the board and slumped down at his desk. It's completely a typical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. That can partly be attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Suzune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she is simply making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak with you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Matao approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't seem too good, but I stand up and follow him into the hallway. Matao stands in the hallway scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what's going on, I wait silently. I heard from the school's head nurse that you had a incident the other day. Ah, so it's about that. Well, kind of, but it's not anything to be worried about. Yes, it is. Anything that can endanger your health is something to be worried about. We try our best here to prepare you for life here. Part of that involves knowing your limits and how to work around them. It would be remiss of me if I didn't speak up about this. Alright, I get it. I'm sorry. Matao closes his eyes in frustration. I realized that this probably wasn't the best thing to say. Something tells me that you're not sorry. Pretend as much as you want, but this isn't a normal school. A lot of people have put in a lot of time, effort, and money to make sure that you and every other student here can have the same level of education as your peers. For you, to abuse that by throwing out advice, especially medical advice, is plain selfish. I'm not quite sure if this is actually how he feels, or if it's some act and he's practiced many times to guilt trip students into doing the right thing. Either way, it's working. I understand. This is all new to me, and I apologize. I know my limits now, and I'll be sticking to them. Matao tunes we lighten up a little, satisfied by his message has been what? Wait a minute. Satisfied that his message has been received. Okay. Jeez. So then, about my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Matao taps his chin and raises his eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there that realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in a little life support prison. Well, yeah. You gotta keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the lay person, but any one of them could be the key to the next big bang thing. Next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Matao's serious talk is over, and he's gone back into his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at the suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Matao pauses for a minute. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the question on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Matao does not even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. Excuse me. Sorry. The class returns to a near silent when that Matao and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last minute preparation underway. The clock on the wall slowly ticks and the remaining class time away. Ticks the remaining... Okay, wait. The clock on the wall slowly takes the remaining class time away, until finally the bells cry out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend, with the festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is a lot nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that, or anything else either. So an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of her novel she's reading. My pencil lead splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sound of my irritated sign and subsequently fumbling around with her sharpener feels like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Her name is all it takes for Hanako to jump up from the desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it's not long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye in sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does not but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though. Her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. After about 10 minutes of restlessly shuffling in her seat and trying to read, Hanako closes her book and leaves too. As should I, since the assignment is all but finished and there is nothing else to do in the classroom. Not that I have anything to do anywhere else either. The school is a beehive of activity, but nothing pays me any heed. I saw the past classrooms filled with students frantically doing this and that, buzzing around like little worker bees. You couldn't guess the school day is over. It's a bit quieter outside, but not by much. People zip by, left and right, hurrying as quick as they can, busy and energetic. I feel the opposite. The midday sun seems to be draining all the spirit out of my body, making me feel limp all over. Warm, soft air flows inside my shirt. I was about to say skirt. Feeling like a cushion. I yawn lazily, thinking about what I do. I'll drop off my books at the dorm first, and then something I haven't decided yet. Maybe Kenji's in his room. On the way to the door, I spot Emmy coming my way, running despite not having those weird running prosthetics on. I wave at her and she skids to a stop. Yo, Hisao! Spatters of white and green paint adorn her nose and skin respectively, but her smile is wide and it seems it always is. She leans closer to me, amplifying the feeling she is examining me. What you doing? Nothing really. I don't have anything to do for the festival and everyone else seems to be doing something important. That's perfect. Then you can help me and Rin. With the festival preparations? I'm not sure if I can be much help. That's fine. I'm not much help either. Excuse me. Emmy grabs my wrist and starts dragging me inside the school quite forcefully. Even her walking speed is more like jogging, making me stumble over myself simply trying to keep up. The stairs slow down a little bit. Maybe it's hard to climb with her legs, or maybe she's finally run out of breath. We go all the way back up to the third floor to the seniors' hallway, ending up where I left 5 minutes ago. I could have just as well have stayed here waiting for Emmy, had I known. So is Rin working on a mural still? At mural still? That's right, she needs all kinds of paint and brushes and stuff, so I went to get them from the art classroom. And you needed me to help with that? Well, Rin told me you had already helped her, so I thought you wouldn't mind. I see. So thanks to Emmy's flaky logic, here I am again, collecting stuff from the art classroom for other people. The room is empty, apart from ourselves and the lonely specks of dust floating in the air. Emmy skips straight away to the back wall, digging out a tiny crumpled piece of paper from her pocket. While she tries to make sense of the scrawled handwriting, I take a closer look at the material lying around here. Dozens of paint cans and bottles are arranged on the shelves in a most unorganized fashion. Some look like they've been left there for several decades, relics of previous art club generations. Next to the heavy stacks of neatly piled drawing paper are boxes full of different sized brushes and unassorted crayons. The smell of paint, turpentine, and fresh paper float in the stale air, mixing in my nostrils to form the unmistakable scent of art. Emmy studies her notes, comparing them to markings on the various paint cans, and passes them to me as she finds the correct matches. She stretches her neck to look at the topmost shelf, but it's not quite enough. Her eye level stays below the shelf, no matter what she does. Emmy gives up and just looks up to the shelf longingly like a child at a toy store, huffing in annoyance. After a moment of building anger, she starts jumping up and down, apparently trying to speed read the labels during the fraction of a second she can see them, and catch what she can. It's no surprise that she fails miserably and almost manages to bring the entire shelf crashing down. Now I see why my lending a hand here would be useful. Come on, let me do that. You can't jump high enough, and I don't want you to hurt yourself trying. Also, I'm like twice your height. You are not. She turns around flaming scorn, flushed cheeks and all. Just kidding, just kidding. Anyway, I'll look up there, okay? She glares at me one more time, but can't come up with a retort. With a grunting humph, she turns her back to me. So I begin scorning around the top shelf for paint, while below, Emmy crouches to scavenge what she can from the cupboards. I shake my head a little after double checking to ensure she can't see me do so. Emmy having a complex about her height was a surprise. I wouldn't have joked about it otherwise. She seems easygoing, but I guess everyone has their weak spots. Only after we almost all the items collected and spread out on the desk like a treasure hunter's spoil, do I realize that it wasn't necessarily the height jab that got her riled up. She might not like being told that she can't do something, like jump. But Emmy herself seems to have forgotten all about it already. Quick to anger, quick to forgive. She's that type of person? At least she doesn't seem to have taken anything to heart, as she chatters away happily while we pick up the rest of the items and make our way back to Rin. I chivalrously carry the bulk of the materials as we make our way towards the dormitories. Rin is really stressed out about getting her painting done. It's her own fault though. She should have started earlier. Is she going to make it? No idea. It looks good to me, but with Rin, you never know what's going on. I found her this morning lying in front of the dorm, in fetal position. She hadn't slept all night. I can't believe that the night nurses hadn't found her. And now she's painting again like crazy. Yeah, I've noticed that she comes off as kinda unhinged, so to speak. Emmy giggles at that, as well as my likely to obvious awkwardness. I don't mind it. She's a little weird sometimes. On that, I can agree with her. Unlike me, Emmy seems to be cool with Rin. Whatever it is that feels so off about her. Still, they don't feel close like Misha and Shizune. With them working as simply as a single entity sometimes, it's hard to say where one ends and the other begins. Even though they're so different, just like Emmy and Rin are. And Rin is most different from them all. Different from anyone else I've met. Yeah, I guess she's a very unique person. I return to the word again, as it encompasses Rin's personality by itself, but really, it's just a substitute for a lengthy description of her oddities. Emmy giggles as I grasp about for a properly descriptive word. She's just weird. You know, earlier she spent half an hour sitting on her box and stared at her toes. She giggles again in a way that makes me think she doesn't know what's funny about it. It just is. All the time. The working area is a mess, but the mirror itself has taken even more of the wall since I last saw it. The disfigured human figures have been mostly colored in tones of red, pink, and orange. Weird, imaginary, things populating the space between. It looks nice. I can't think of any other word to describe the work concisely and comprehensively, so I settle myself on a nondescript nice. But honestly, it seems that the area around the wall becomes untidier at the same rate as the mural progresses. The ground is littered with dozens of paint cans, various art supplies, and empty soda bottles. Rin herself is in the center of the chaos, standing there looking very cozy as if she was a natural part of the scene. Her pant legs have been rolled up to her knees, exposing her thin legs, which sport a drying spectrum of war painting similar to those of Emmy's face. Emmy sprints to Rin ahead of me and gleefully jumps in front of her. I'm back! That was fast. Did you run in the corridors again? Hasao helped me. Emmy points victoriously at me. Rin turned around, following Emmy's finger with her eyes, looking at my general direction. She nods absentmindedly at me. She looks like she hasn't slept last night. A vacant gaze stare that focused slightly off me, and movements like in a slow motion movie. Hello, Hasao. Thank you for the help. Don't mention it. I just did. Never mind. Looks like we've made progress. Looking good, as far as I can tell. But now you get more bad luck. I know, but I'm willing to take the risk. That's a very nice thing to say. For me, of course, not for you. This is why artists are always unlucky. They have to constantly look at their unfinished paintings. So artists can't find romance. Their favorite TV shows are cancelled, or they die young because of unspecified disease. It's a deep and mysterious law of the universe. Unless they are blind. She considers this for a while, looking like she's just going to fall asleep. There's a boy. At the art club, you see. Blind boy. So he doesn't see. You already told me. I glance sideways at Emmy, and she glances back in a way that tells me she's never heard this one before, too. Neither of us say anything to Rin, though she continues her monotone soliloquy like an unfunny stand-up comedian. He should become an artist. No, bad luck, guaranteed. Don't you think that would be a good idea? That only blind people should become artists? No, not as such. You might have a point. Abandoning this train of thought, she turns again to consider her work and starts humming a tune that I think I recognize, but can't remember the name of. Emmy arranges the supplies we bought and moves a few paint cans around, trying to bring some organization to the scene. Emmy, I need the Perusian blue paint. Which one's Perusian blue? She is staring helplessly at 7 or 8 cans, which with a different tone of blue. It's the one with Persian blue paint in it. Geez, Rin, you're not helping at all. I think this is a good place to stop, so next time we'll continue this conversation with Emmy and Rin. See you guys later.